Hey guys, Armando here. I'm back with another update on my Enterprise D, and let me show you what I came up with. I went scrounging at Home Depot and I found this clear vinyl tubing. There's the information. 3/4 inch by 5/8 inch by 10 feet. I had some thicker vinyl tubing in my garage, but it was too rigid. This is rather thin and it's about the right size for what I'm looking for. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a length, probably the whole thing, unless I can't fit it, then I'll just take it from here, somewhere around here, and take it to here. I'll cut half of it lengthwise, and then I'll primer it on the outside so I can preserve the shininess on the inside to give more reflectivity to the LEDs. Hopefully this will be sufficient to light block this and create like a tunnel around here that will isolate the orange LEDs to just a strip. That's the theory anyway. Let's see what happens. I'll be back later. Hello again, fellow modelers. Some progress on the Enterprise D. I have completed basic assembly of the light box, and let me tell you what my sequence of thoughts has been here, because as you can see, obviously there's no rubber tubing there, no vinyl tubing, but rather styrene strips. Here's the tubing after I primered it. I encountered several problems with it, and in retrospect this probably wasn't the best material to use. It has entirely too much memory, and as much as I tried to shape it and even slice a piece off so I could bend it, I simply couldn't get it in shape, and I had no idea if the CA glue would keep it in place the way I needed it to. The other problem is the primer, and I used the Transtar White, which is the best one I've ever used, would not stay. It flaked off. This was done last night, and it's about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and you know, if I scrape I can probably take it off. It looks grainy, it doesn't look secure enough. I just don't trust it. See? It comes right off. It's a shame, because white shiny inner surface would have created a nice diffused parabolic mirror-like concentration of the light towards the phaser strip, which is what I was looking for, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Boyd had suggested I use rubber tubing as the type that they use in car hoses and the like. I never explored that possibility. I suppose that would have been an alternative, but I didn't feel like waiting and going to an auto shop today, so I decided to work on it last night, and I went back to my original idea. But instead of using transparent strips, I used thicker styrene white strips and cut them. The outer one longer than the inner one. And I primered them first black and then white on the outside to light block them. Then I glued them with CA glue on either side of the strip, the phaser strip. Then I took two pieces, did the same thing, light blocked them on the outside and glued them in place on the sides to complete the light box. I then took a piece of plastic, styrene plastic again, placed it on top and traced an outline with a pencil, holding it up to the light so I could get roughly a curved shape. And I cut the curved shape out with scissors, and this will roughly be my lid. It's not exactly perfect, but with a little bending I think I can get it in place. Then I'll use the tulip paint on the sides to light block anything, including this little gap here that will probably leak some light. The effect works rather nicely. Let me see if I can light up one of these to show you. I took a picture and posted it on SFMA. But for those of you that are not members of SFMA, I want to show you also. Okay, looks like I may have fried those two LEDs, so I'll have to check them. but here's one that works. As you can see, it lights up rather nicely in there. When the lid is on, it'll isolate all the light. Let's see if I can make it to... Yeah, it's daylight, so it's a little difficult to see, but you can see it there. Looks like a nice diffuse pinpointer light, which is the effect I was looking for. So, hopefully this will accomplish the phasor array effect nicely. Now, I've got to check these two LEDs. I have a nasty feeling I burned them out. I'll have to swap them out for new ones. That should be challenging since I've already CA glued it into place. But that's what modeling's all about. Challenge after challenge after challenge, right? Anyway, talk to you later. Hey guys, Armando back. Just a brief continuing update on my Enterprise D. I swapped out the two LEDs that were burnt out, put new ones in. As you can see, no major damage, thankfully. And now I'm wiring up the LEDs. Now the way the board is wired, Ralph's board, all the negatives go together. So it occurred to me that I could probably just take a single string of magnet wire and start at one end in the negative lead, the cathode, and then wrap it up as I melted the insulation in each of the LEDs and solder it in place, and that's what I've been doing. Let me zoom in so you can see what I mean. The magnet wire, I've been running it behind it, and when it reaches a cathode I melt the lead and wrap it around once and solder it, and then go on to the next one, melt the insulation again, wrap it around once and solder, and continue. This one is independent. This is the firing LED, so this one doesn't get wired to anything. So I'm going to do that for all of them. I'm doing these three next, and I thought I'd show you as I did one so you can get an idea. Let me see if I can get this camera positioned a little better so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think you can see that. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. So got the wire here, and the first step is to melt the insulation. Do it right above the lead that you're going to wrap it around. So that just enough is stripped and can make contact without making contact with the other lead, the anode. That's pretty much tinned and the insulation is melted. So then you go behind it and pull it tight and fold it so that it's making contact. And then I use a hemostat, or you can use some other small clamp instrument that you can hold it with so that you can keep it taut while you wrap it around. That way you achieve your loop in a nice tight fashion, making contact with the cathode and keeping it insulated the rest of the way. So just the area that makes contact with the cathode is making contact and nothing else. Now if this works, I should be able to light it all up, and it'll save me space because I don't want to have a bunch of wire around here covering up my windows. So I'll continue doing this, and I'll come back with an update. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, here is the wiring completed from the saucer. The way the diagram states things have to be, all the negatives go together, as like I showed you, and the positives are the opposites. Number 1 goes with number 13, number 2 goes with number 12, number 3 goes with number 11, and so on and so forth. And number 7 is independently wired to the board. So I've done that. I hooked them all up, and then I melted the leads, the insulation at the point of the arch here, and now I'm going to hook up wires that'll be long enough to reach down into the base, and I'll put the resistors there. I think that's how I'll do it. Okay, so onward and upward. Okay, I'm all set for an initial test. I've already uploaded a short video to the communities. I'll go ahead and add one here as well. It's all wired up, hooked up to the board. And the switch is all set. So we'll fire up a test. I'll turn off the light after I try it with the lights on. It's better seen that way. I haven't sealed the light box, so keep that in mind. Okay. Now with the lights off. Look behind it so you can see it in the dark. I'm still not sure about what I'm going to do with the photo etch. Let me zoom in so you guys can see that. The light is really, the effect is lost through these holes. It's really attenuated, and I like how it looks through the plain strip better. So I'm beginning to lean towards removing the photo etch. I mean, you can still see it, but because it's going through the little holes, it's really attenuated. Here you get the impression that it's a full energy pulse loading up to the phaser array and reaching the point where it fires. So I may have to give up on the idea of using the photo etch, at least on the top. I'll use it on the bottom saucer and on the rest of the detail parts, but the phaser array I think I might just leave like that. I will paint it the same color. Try and keep it transparent, just frosted with the copper after I mask it off, but I'm really beginning to lean towards just leaving this off. We'll see. I'll make my final decision in the next couple of days. For now, I'm pretty happy with the way this has come out. I'll continue setting up light strips for the rest of the lighting of the saucer. That's going to be tricky. I'm going to have to modify my technique some, given this light box which is on the way, but we'll see. Alright, talk to you later. Hello again, fellow modelers. This is Armando, back with another update on my Enterprise D. I am finally back at work on it, and I've gotten a few things done, and I wanted to show you what I've been doing. In the last video you guys saw the phaser array at work, Now I am working on detail lighting in both the upper and lower saucer, and it's a bit more complex and time consuming than I initially thought, but it's worthwhile because I think it's going to look really nice. I'm working on the bridge, the dome, and let me show you how I've sort of solved the problem. I wanted the dome light to be a strobe, but I wanted the lights that illuminate the windows to be constant. So obviously 2 light sources were needed. And after thinking of several different things, what I've done is I placed a small SMD in here, drilled through a hole there, which will illuminate the windows, and I glued a fiber optic to the dome and drilled it through, and that will be connected to a 5mm LED, which I've already light blocked and it's ready to go, which will go to the board and it'll blink. Let me show you how this looks when you pull it in. You have to be gentle, obviously, because I glued that fiber optic in place, but I don't want it to fall. So I'm going to pull it in very carefully. Obviously I'll have to light block where the where the fiber optic joins the dome with some tulip paint. I'll be doing that in a minute. Okay, so this is how it'll look at the beginning. Turn off the lights so you guys get an idea. Obviously there's plenty of light leaks that I'll have to work around on the edges there. I'll take care of those once I've glued this in place. I'll use some canopy glue and some very careful paint brushing. The hull color, this is the paint that I saved some of the hull color, but for some reason it's, to my eye anyway, it looks a little darker. It may just be my imagination. If it isn't, then I'm not going to be messing around with it too much. I might try and clear it up just a little bit, but I don't think it looks bad at all. I think it actually adds some character to the saucer. I'm not going to worry about it too much, but I may have to lighten it up because there are certain areas I'm going to have to retouch. This is a little bit of tulip paint that got on there that I'm going to have to paint, so if I want to match the hull color, I'm going to have to play around with the remainder of my hull color, which is in here. Now, as far as the light strips and what I've done with those, let me show you. This is gonna be a little tricky. I don't want the bridge to fall off and snap the fiber optic. It's kind of delicate, so bear with me a second. I know the camera's shaking around. I don't want you guys to get nauseated. Okay. This is the inside of the top saucer. You guys have already seen the light box I created for the phaser array, and one tip for anyone who wants to try and create this thing, I would suggest you make the profile a little lower. I have found that after I install these LED strips for illumination, the bottom saucer is bumping up against this, so I'm going to have to press it down with glue and clamps and leave it in place for a bit. While it's not going to prevent me from sealing the saucer, it is going to make it a little bit more awkward. So for future reference, if you're going to build one of these light boxes, and eventually when I do build my nebula conversion kit, I'll be doing the same deal for the phaser array. I'll be building a lower profile box so that I can ensure that both saucers go together comfortably. For the lighting, for the most part, I got all the windows lit. There's some areas that are a little uneven, but since I'm not going to have all the lights lit, some of them are going to be blocked. It should work out okay. I put strips here, here, and here, and one strip down here so it illuminates this. And then on the bottom saucer, this is the arrangement of strips that I got. They all seem to give me good illumination. For the bottom strobe, I used a warm white SMD, which I've already light blocked with tulip paint. And when you look at it from the bottom, I use one of my leftover beacon parts from my NX-01, just like I did for the cells. They came in very handy, and it blinks very nicely when you test it. For the nav lights, I used a technique suggested suggested by Boyd. I took a drill bit, 536, and I rotated it on the hull, creating a circular scrape on either side. And I did the same for the top. Right there and right there. And I glued green and red SMDs in the appropriate positions with CA glue, covering the SMD with a CA glue and hitting it with a zip kicker so it would create an instant covering, and then I light blocked it with tulip paint so that there wouldn't be a lot of leakage. There's still some bleeding of light through. I'll keep working on that. One of the things that I realized with this kit is if you don't block, and this is another tip for you guys that are going to build this this kit, make sure you get nice light blockage on the edge here, unless you're willing to do some work afterwards, because you are going to get light leakage through here. I expect I'm going to have to do a lot of work on that after I seal the saucer. As for the wiring from the phaser array, you guys have seen that already. The positives are coming off of the anodes, and the negatives, I took a single wire and I progressively melted the insulation and wrapped it a couple of times around each cathode, and then soldered it in place. That created the joining of all the negatives into one single one that emerges here and goes to the board. Everything is all joined together into a bundle, which will go to the board, which is over here. And I've already demonstrated the effect, so you guys have seen it. I haven't done anything new with the engineering hall as of yet. I still need to trim this to get it to fit, so the top of the engineering hall fits on the bottom. That's my progress so far, and I'm going to continue working on the bridge. Hopefully I'll get that LED in place and everything will be all set up. Once that's done, theoretically I'm ready to close the saucers. Of course I'll have to thread all the wiring through the hole I made. I may have to make this hole a little bigger to fit it all through. And that also, of course, connects with this part, the battle bridge area. So that's my progress so far. Talk to you later.